I'm about to sneeze. Nope, I avoided it. Yes. They say if you just look up a little bit. I don't know. Seems to work. So, etymology? Unknown. All right. So this is a copula. Lovely. YouTube, welcome. We are about to work on some fun in the dictionary. We are going to take all the words that we've been haphazardly making and then throwing to the side like they're nothing. We're going to put them all into a nice organized lexicon with their etymological information and everything that needs to be known about them. So that's the plan. Let's go. Bam, over to the side. Right, so where were we? Lenethailef. We had been looking at the morphology of Lenethailef last time, and we'd come up with a regular class of nouns and verbs. So, for those who are not aware, Old Lenethailef is extremely complicated and has this crazy ablaut system where you have, say, a word like huask, meaning crow. In the nominative / genitive case, it's huask, but in the accusative case, it's huaskuich. And in the locative and instrumental case, it's huaserum. So you have these three sort of stem forms that show up depending on what case we're talking about. And similarly, we have the same thing going on really with verbs. So we have, let's see if I can find an example. Mazlach, which means to shine. In the simple predicative form, it's mazlach. In the past, it's mazlaret. And in the substantive form, it's mazlarok. So we have three forms again as well for the verbs. By the time we get over to middle Lenethailef, these kind of ablaut classes start to apply to fewer and fewer stems. And so more and more things get put into this regular stem, this regular class. So an example would be the loan word me, which is the goddess Me, it's a loan word, so we don't expect it to necessarily participate in all of the morphological fun of the inherited lexicon. So we get instead of an ablaut system, we just have suffixation. So me, me, meenum, meef, meven, meef, meem. And similarly, we may have some inherited vocabulary go over to this regularized class. So month, meaning love, month, manthi, mandhanam, manthaf, mandhaf, mandhavan, manthaf, mandham. So this is the sort of diachronic story that we're telling with Lenethailef. And we now have to take all of this information that we've made it in this spreadsheet. We've got it over in this spreadsheet with all the different sentences. We've got poems. Oops, I'll show you that later. That's going to be fun. I have some new texts for us to translate. And we have also some information about Lenethailef in this proto-lexicon in a different spreadsheet. So it's just a mess. We need to organize it, and so that's our task right now. So the format, Echo Words asks, is it going to be like a spreadsheet format for now at least, to keep us organized? We have here the start of it. So we have the following columns. We have the actual form of the word, the part of speech, the stem class, which is important in Old Lenethailef, especially for most stems. The gloss, so this is our translation roughly into English, and then the etymology from Proto-Cal or from wherever the form is from. So this is going to be kind of like a historically aware dictionary that we can then, perhaps using the magic of computers, put into different formats as we go. Yeah, let's increase the size of the text. This is supposed to be 14. What have I been? Oh, I've been using 18 elsewhere. There we go. Yeah, hopefully that's a bit nicer to look at on a phone. Alrighty. So let's adjust the size of these columns then, because I think we're going to need a little bit more room. All right. Great. So then the first question is, what stage of the language are we going to be documenting here? I think, so where do we have our little, I think, yeah, we here, you can see how organized I am, right? We have this rough outline of the stages of Lenovailiff. Roughly there are 4 or 5, I guess. We have Old Lenovailiff, Low and High Middle Lenovailiff, which actually are sort of simultaneous. Then we have Early Modern Lenovailiff and Modern Lenovailiff. And so we have some sound changes, some grammatical changes that occur between these. Probably a bit confusing, but I think it'll come out as we go along. So what we've been describing is mostly Old Lenovailiff. So I'd like to include Old Lenovailiff information with the elaborate ablaut system, but I want the dictionary to be of modern Lenovailiff. So it's going to be able to show the influence of the different other languages that came into contact with Lenovailiff. Lenovailiff has a really interesting story where it first went under the influence of its sister language, Eustamia, which was something like almost like a sacred language, kind of with a similar role as Latin had on the vernacular languages of much of Europe. Then it gets influenced by a language, Kranslor, which is from a completely different family, from the Sakrat family, which is very different grammatically and phonologically. And as a result, a Creole forms due to this contact between Lenovailiff and Kranslor. And we see Middle Lenovailiff transition into Early Modern Lenovailiff, in which we have extensive regularization of nouns and verbs, perhaps coming from this influence of many second language speakers of Lenovailiff, or some aspect of the language contact situation. Then modern Lenovailiff will happen. We haven't discussed too much what's going on there, but there will be something. So the point is that modern Lenovailiff will show all the different layers of the language, from its earliest stages to the influence from Eustamia, to the influence from Kranslor and the Creole, up to the present. So we can have a bit more fun with it that way. Okay. Oh, Raven, welcome. Tentatively, potentially, welcome back to full potential attendance soon. That would be great. All right, so that's the plan. Let's get working. So we have our lexicon here. And I think what we have to do is let's start with the Old Lenovailiff layer, and let's give all of these forms in all their glory and ablouting, all of their ablouting glory rather, and then we can move forward from there. So let's look at what we have in our worksheet. We have a few. Okay, so we can just start by mining what we've already got and putting it into some sort of a logical order. So avidus is a term meaning because. Avidus, we can call this, we can call this a conjunction. And we can gloss it because. Where does this come from? I believe we have to work backwards for that. So let's take a look. It comes from afi, to be thus, in Proto-Call. So it comes from afi, and then a suffix, which would have been tohwa. There it is. The tohwa suffix, the conditional one, which has a meaning like because. So the meaning of this form that becomes avidus is something like, given that it is thus, which is a good way to say because. A bit wordy, I guess, in the English translation, but avitohwe, afitohwe. So this is thus, to be thus, conditional one. So roughly, yeah, that's a bit technically written, but I think we can handle it for now. So avidus, that's the etymology there. Okay, let's move on. Faya. Faya is swan. So we need to look and see if we've actually made any decisions about Faya. We have. It's a fairly irregular noun. So Faya, f, and fire. And this is an I stem noun, and it means swan. And this comes from Payawi, swan. So far we haven't, I saw this come up in the chat. Semantic drift, there will be semantic drift. I think the words that we started out with don't have much, but we're going to build it in as we go. Okay, what's next? Let's finish up this sentence. Naiva. Naiva meaning feather. All right. Naiva. What did that come from? So we're kind of being etymologists here. Let's look at feather. Nafia. Okay, so nafia is the etymology. Feather still means feather. And this is an A stem. Now we need to derive what the various forms will look like. So how do we do that? There is a way, and it requires Lexicon. So open up Lexicon. Here we go. So we need nafia, and we're going to go to the proto-grammar spreadsheet, and we're going to use our fancy noun form generator, and we're going to put in nafia, and we get the whole paradigm. Isn't that nice? That's nice. So this will let us work out what the different ablaut classes will be. So naiva, navi, navanum, navof. So it looks like it's naiva and navi. No, wait, let me just do this a little bit less quickly. So naiva, 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 navi, navanum, navof. Okay, so it's naiva, nav, and navi. That's the, those are the three. I can never find anything in this spreadsheet. Lexicon, naiva, nav, navi. Great. Okay. Moving on to something. Avidas via naiva mon, the copula. Where did the copula come from? So this is the copula. I don't know where this came from. I'm sure past me, if I could go back and consult past Colin, he would have a good answer for me. But I think we're going to have to do some digging. So where could this have come from? Mon. I'm looking for something that starts with an M here. And I'm not sure. So etymology, unknown. All right. So this is a copula. Are we going to have this inflect like a verb? Not quite sure yet. So let's just leave it blank. Is this going to be a verb or is this going to be something else? Just something that is indeclinable? I do not know. All right. So avidas via naiva mon mazel. Mazel. This is the word meaning white. Mas. Okay, so we have mas here. Let's put in because that's easy. This is a preposition meaning like. What is the etymology of this? This is going to be ufo. Ufo. If I put that through Lexicon, is it going to give us No, it's going to give us oof. So where did come from? I don't know. All right, so etymology unknown. Ooh, I like this. See, the fact that I can't remember these things makes this all the more mysterious. Etymology unknown. I'm sure there was one, but okay. So then let's look at the word for white, mazel here, but that is in an inflected form. And that's from masala. So let's put that over into grammar. And, oh, nope, this is a noun. This is what we want, masala. So then let's take this beautiful paradigm and put it into Lexicon and see what happens. Yeah, so we have mas, mazla, and mazel. I think, yeah. So mas, mazl, and mazel. I'm about to sneeze. Nope, I avoided it. Yes. They say if you just look up a little bit. I don't know. Seems to work. Okay, so this is a verb. This means white. And this comes from masala, which meant, where is it? Masala, bright or white. So here we have some semantic narrowing. I think we could just make this mean bright, mean white. Masala. And interestingly, masala has its own etymology that we can reconstruct from the root masa, meaning bright or white, and then some sort of a strange stem extender, which we don't know the reason for. Lovely. All right. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on the chat because I have been neglecting you. I apologize, chat. Yeah, Galactic Sand. But the nice thing is, interrogating my past self is, it's kind of like doing a little bit of research, you know. It's like someone else came up with this stuff and I'm just sort of poking around and seeing what happened. Except that person who came up with it was, you know, in at least in large part, a version of me, which makes it delightfully fun to try and retrace the thought process. Yeah, echoed words. Maybe it comes from uque. Let's see what happens. It doesn't look like that's going to work with the rules. Very very strange. Although it does seem like it would have come from uque. Maybe from uque. And let's get the gloss for that to go through. All right. Okay, so then let's just impose a little bit more order here. Oh, wait. This is a schwa stem. I should put that in. Let's impose a little bit of order. And let's sort by form. Boom. Done. Okay. Oh, yeah, Dylan, thank you. The orthography. Mazel. Orthography strikes again. I know it's tough. It's tough out there. It's tough to be a Colin, you know, wandering around in all these orthographies and these languages. But we persevere. Okay. What's next? We've mined the first sentence at least. Let's see what we can do with the second. And hopefully this will start to lead us into some more, some less backfilly things. Sotten. Oh, yeah. So, do you want... Here's one for Sotten. Here's what going out to Sotten out there. Do you want to talk about the passive case today? Because I was thinking we might do it later on this month. But since you're here now, we can talk about it now. Up to you. So while Sotten's thinking about that, and no pressure by any stretch, I will continue and I'll just do a few more of these little words here. Moch. Moch is this interesting... I've glossed it as rel. So this is some sort of a relative marker. I don't know if we're going to call it anything in particular yet, but this is a relativizer. And where does it come from? Moch. Well, let's look at something that looks like... I can't for the life of me think of what this might have been. Is there something that was vowel initial, where the vowel dropped out? I can't for the life of me think where these things came from. That's fine. That's good. Let's unknown etymology. Love it. Moch, Hasen, black. So Hasen. Where does this come from? Let's look for the word black here. Fasana. Ah. Okay, fasana. A stem from fasana, which I believe black dark. Okay. Cool. And we can gloss this black. Hasen. So we need to figure out what the different classes are for this. Most of these will get regularized out as we go, but I think, maybe something like the basic colors won't. Yeah, so Yiddish actually was an inspiration for, in the very, very first episode, going way back. That was one of the things that was shouted out into the chat to come at the, to be sort of a seed of inspiration for the family. So, yeah, I guess we do have, it's deep in the DNA of this language. Okay, yeah, Sutton. We'll put a rain check on passive, on the passive case stuff until later. Yeah, it's true. Sometimes it's hard to jump in. Hopefully, I'm giving enough little signposts. So, but if it's anything confusing ever, just write in the chat, and hopefully I will make sure to clarify anything, because this is coming after 6 months of working on this family. We're I don't know if you can believe it, but this channel's been around now, putting up streams for 6 months, which is kind of cool, and so a lot's happened. A lot of decisions have been made. A lot of thought and a lot of furrowed brows have got into this family, especially because it's been with us since the very start. Ship, you're not totally sure what's going on. Well, it's possible that I'm not 100% sure about what's going on all the time. But you know what? We persevere. So let's figure out what this Fasana's doing. Sort of, I miss having Lucy around. Last time it was great. We could, we could go. We had a back and forth. I liked that. I don't know. And it gave my voice a break, not to be the only one talking all the time. We should get her back. We should get her back on. Okay, so let's find out what kind of verb Fasana is going to look like. Hazan, Hazan, and Hazan. Okay, so it looks like, let's find a representative form for each of these 3 ablaut classes. So we need blue. Blue is the second one. So it basically goes 1, 2, 3. Green, and sorry, you can't see this. Green, blue, orange. So Hazan, Hazan, Hazana. So if I can now find my way back to where on earth is my lexicon? Hazan, Hazan, Hazana. So that's a verb. Okay. Yeah, documentation's hard. I think that documentation, you have to be kind of in the right mood for it. I'm in that mood now. I'm not often actually. But I find sometimes coming back and trying to systematize things, you find out that there are inconsistencies, and those can be kind of fun, because if you try and work out a way to have your cake and eat it too, you can introduce what I like to call delightful complications. Okay, so sonum. Okay, now we haven't finished this. Skoft. Skoft is coal. Great word. Love the word. Skoft. Coal. Noun. What is the root? You know what? Let's get another version of this up here. What is the root? Let's find coal. We don't have coal. What's going on? I remember this though. We did have a word for coal. Oh, sequopata, which is a compound of some kind. What does it mean? Sequo, fire. Yes, sequopata is like fire rock. Yeah, fire rock. Scoffed. Oh, that came out nice. Scoffed. Yeah, Quain, it's a compound. Fire rock in this case. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's finish this little sentence here, and then we'll put in a YouTube break. Next, sonum. So this is a dative form of the third person pronoun. So here we have, this is the third person pronoun, so we could just call it 3. This is a pronoun. However, it's going to definitely take part in these, in the fun. So let's see if we can, let's put it through the noun form generator. Okay, so here we go. Oh no, it doesn't like it. Okay, I think that's this one. So let's just, All right, you can't make comments. That's fine. Sonum. All right, I'll have to. I'll make a note to self to fix that rule. But sonum, sof, soiven, sof, som. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna have a few that are like soy, something like that, for the accusative. But yeah, essentially it's so. So it's actually kind of more regular than the others, which is kind of funny. But let's just say it's irregular. And this is from so, a third person pronoun. Nothing too interesting there, actually, sadly. I thought it was going to be more interesting than that. But we, again, as I always say, we persevere. We have to keep going through this stuff. All right. Quoth, give, past. Oh, I feel like quoth is just a great word for gave. I don't know. Yeah, Galactic Sand is it's a vibe. Commenting stuff out until it works. Do any of the roots and stems undergo ablaut when compounded? I guess it depends. If the compound is if it's a really early compound, then I would expect them just to be treated as a single morphological unit with respect to the ablaut system. If it's a later compound, I would expect so essentially that would be what you get in with Lexicon, just putting the stuff in and letting it go. But with later compounds, I don't know. I think it would have to depend on when it was coined. So if it's coined in the old Lenovailiff period, then it would probably undergo ablaut. Maybe one of the two, like the head of the compound would undergo ablaut, but then the other element wouldn't. And then if it's later, then I would expect compounds to just be treated like their head noun. So let's maybe look at an example. If you had a word like, I don't know, one. So say we made a compound out of sukswan, the evil eye, sukswan, and that was still transparent as being evil and I, then we would expect one to just inflect like one, like it normally does, which is actually quite irregular. But if it came into the language earlier and then it had been reduced a bit and wasn't still identifiable as being evil and I, then maybe it would have a different ablaut pattern. And then if it came much later, when we have these regular noun classes, maybe then it would just be treated as a regular noun. So I guess there are all sorts of options depending on what you want to do. You can kind of make it go the way you want. But I did promise to finish this with some speed for YouTube. So let's put quoth in here. So quoth is a verb meaning to give. It's the past tense of a verb meaning to give. This is the verb quo. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So grammar, we have the verb quo, and it looks like this: quo, kuf, quot, quon, quish, kuk, quos, kuk, quothus, quovel, quof. Okay, interesting. So it looks like quo, and then so let's find, I think better with colors here. So stem A is green, stem B is blue, stem C is orange. So if we look at, and again, apologies that you can't see this, it's very frustrating. There we go. Okay, so quo is definitely our orange stem. Ku is our blue stem, so that's going to be romanized CU, and then the orange stem, the third one, right, is is quo as well. So let's put it a cut here because I'm getting a little bit of that effect of mental overload. The only thing we have to do is sukswan. So let's just put one in. This is irregular. Quo is an O stem. And suks, I think we will have to investigate that next time. So this means I, this means evil, this means give, and this is going to come from the protoform cool, give. This one is going to come from a form wana, meaning I, and suks, which may be inflected actually. Now that I think about it, I think it's just suk on its own. We'll have to verify that, but let's see. Evil, sasuka. Yeah. Sasuka meaning... Okay, I think we've done enough chores for now. Let's bid farewell to YouTube. YouTube, thank you so much. We have been, taking control back of our lives with this dictionary. We're getting an actual definitive source about what everything means, so we don't accidentally make the same word twice or forget something. And we're encountering that encountering the fact that we don't always remember what we did in the past, and sometimes that can be, in a bizarre sense, a blessing. But anyway, we will see you next time, YouTube. Come back and join us, and we'll make some more words together.